Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Whoa! Yeah, as you can tell from the title, I've been gone for a little bit. It's actually Monday for me right now, which it should be for you too if this video is coming out same day. Yeah, I've been on vacation. I've been gone since Thursday and haven't filmed at all since then, and honestly, I haven't really practiced since then. I got home yesterday and I did practice for like 45 minutes, but it kind of sucked. It felt bad. You know, getting back into it after like 3 days, it's not horrible, but your nails are all messed up, and I was just feeling kind of low motivation. And I tried filming and that just didn't work. Then I tried editing a video I had pre-filmed and I found out the file was corrupted, and it sucked. Because that video was a banger too. I edited like 2 minutes of it and I was like, this video is fire right now. But it's gone, so you'll never see that. It's been nice taking a little break, and just to give you some details, I visited the college town that I'm going to be moving to in a few months. I was there with my girlfriend. We got a nice Airbnb in like a nice place. I'm being vague because I don't want to give away the location yet. Why? I don't know. There's no reason not to. I just need some privacy in my life. I've given you so much over the last almost 2 years. I'm sure it'll come out eventually, but just for now, let me have this, okay? I was scared about the pricings there, but we actually found a place that's like freaking dope. It's got like a great view and everything, and it's close to campus. I've talked to the contractor, but I think I'm gonna call them again today just to get the application process going, because we're excited about that. But yeah, everything is all according to plan so far. All according to plan. Let's go ahead and jump into a practice log. How do these things go? I talk to you for a little bit, awkwardly, and then I answer a comment question, and then I play something. My practice has been a little abysmal. Like, obviously, half the week I haven't practiced. I didn't have a lesson this week either, so we're kind of starting this week fresh. I've been working on that source study. I think I'm going to move on to the next source study, just like for no real reason, just because I already have the pages, and I think I'm going to move on to one that's in either A major or D major, something that's not in C. I've been playing a lot of C. The Fugue is hard. I'm probably just going to play the first section for you today, because I've been working on giving each subject a lot of attention and making it really dynamic and like singy, because I feel like before I kind of just prioritized just playing the notes, and I don't know, I'm just going to try to take my time and just give it some room and not just get through it, Soar Mozart variations, that's actually coming along well. I'll play that later. You just heard that though. It's improved since then though. And yeah, that pretty much covers everything. It's hot where I am right now. It's so hot, and it wasn't hot where I was, which sucks because I got kind of used to that. I can't wait to move. I can't wait to get out of this stinky, stupid little town that I'm in right now. Such an annoying town, and I've spent like 6 years of my life here. 4 years in college and then 2 years out of college. And I actually moved away from this town originally. I came back like a freaking chump. Who has moved away from their college town and then moved back? Post in the comments. You are a true guitar loser if you've done that. And even more so if you just never left. Hey, post in the comments if you never left. Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Yeah, what else? Guitar lessons. If you guys have emailed me and I haven't emailed you back, know that you're on the waiting list. I'm so sorry about ignoring you. I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just like I've been on vacation. I'm not doing emails on vacation. And like understand that you're not messaging like a company, like a lesson company. You're messaging a guy. So responses are kind of at my discretion. That being said, if you've emailed me, you are on the list. And I'll try to confirm as many of those as I can today. And I'm also changing my schedule. I've been offering bi-weekly lessons. I can't do it anymore. It's too many people to manage. I'm getting a little like overwhelmed with that. So going forward, if you want lessons from me, weekly lessons for an hour. My whole reasoning for doing bi-weekly was like, oh, for working people, it kind of makes sense because you can't practice that much in a week. But at that time, I was doing bi-weekly lessons too. I'm doing weekly now because I realized just like get the F over it and just freaking practice. If you're serious, take the lessons, take it serious. So, if you want to do weekly and take it serious and freaking practice, there's one slot available. I'll start sending out emails for that. And of course, on the other side of it, if you want to learn how to teach guitar, there's that seminar that I'm putting on May 3rd, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Find that on the Patreon. I'll see you there. Okay, I think it's time that we get into a comment question, so let's jump on into it. Happy Nebula asked, off topic, but I was wondering how you transitioned from guitar music, what the heck is that supposed to mean, to classical guitar music. That feels derogatory almost. I'm sure you had to change a lot of habits since the technique is so different with classical. I've been playing classical piano and have been wanting to get into classical guitar, but I need to change quite a lot of habits since I play a lot of 70s music and it's kind of demotivating. Also, what pieces would you recommend I start with? Let's focus on the first part of your question, the technique differences. What are they and how do you learn them? This might get a little like esoteric here, so bear with me, but what is technique technique, really. It's a means to an end. In a lot of ways, the kind of guitar that you play, which is 70s rock music, and classical guitar, the technique can be similar, but it's also very, very different. And in that, I think that you should kind of treat it as a different instrument. And now, your techniques will transfer over, of course, but don't assume that they will, because a lot of them are very different. So let's go over some of the things that define classical technique. And in fact, let's also talk about the things that define classical guitar music, too. Usually, it's going to be polyphonic in some way, or it's at the very least going to be like bass line melody and some harmony. It's unusual that you're playing single lines on classical guitar, unlike what you would be doing in like rock music for solos or for like jazz solos and stuff. Now that's not always the case, of course. There's like chord melody and all that, but you know what I mean. You're playing full arrangements of music. You're not playing a part of the music generally. We have specific technique to help us do that. Unless you're playing like Alan Holdsworth crap, your spans on guitar are going to have to be larger in classical music because they generally are. You know, I'm not warm right now. I just got out of the shower too. Like, it'd be unusual that you play stuff like this in music that's not classical. So you need to figure out a way to hold your hand in a more open position where you can reach more frets. And usually that'll involve, like, your thumb being up here and your fingers are kind of curled. It's mainly the curl in your index here and the length in your pinky. And you're just evening out the curl so there's equal curl in your pinky and index. Your thumb will be behind the fretboard, and in that you can stretch a lot further. You can reach a lot more stuff on the guitar. That doesn't mean that you have solved this habit here. In fact, like, we call it a habit. I prefer to call this more of a technique. If I'm playing like a pentatonic scale, I'm not going to play a pentatonic scale like this. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to have my thumb over. Because there's a few benefits that we get from this that serve the style of music that we'd usually play a pentatonic scale in. You have way better control of vibrato. This is like awkward sideways vibrato where your thumb is under and you have to like rely on like doing that versus like being able to do this. Way more control over the vibrato. So you shouldn't forget how to do this. This isn't like a habit that you solve. You are just gaining a new technique to better serve a different style of music that you want to play. Same thing with the right hand. If you notice, when I play this pentatonic scale with the right hand, actually, before I go into the differences with the right hand, generally with classical technique, we keep our hand open like that. And also, we have this thing called mid-range, which basically I think of it as it's our forearm to our metacarpals here. This is kind of besides it, but I keep them aligned, so I don't like having them off to the side. You see this in like old classical players. I don't do that. I keep them aligned like that. It just makes more sense because if you think of this thing as a machine, the strings attached to your fingers that are being pulled by your forearm muscles, what's the point of having a kink like halfway through? I think of the bones and stuff as like the scaffolding holding the machine together. And you might as well just have the straightest path for those tendons, right? We have that straight, and then this. We want a straight line between our forearm to our fingers. We relax them down. And then we should be able to make a fist with our fingers without the scaffolding being compromised at all. So something that you'll see if you do this for me and let your fingers drop. See if like that drops too. Don't let that happen. So keep your wrists straight here. And then when you make a fist, something that I see a lot when I have like students do this for the first time, that happens. If you watch my knuckles there, that kind of thing happens. Which you don't want. You just want your fingers to go into your hand. And now what you have is a really simple mechanism where it's just your muscles pulling the tendons and your fingers go into your hand. And that's how we play the strings. And with that, we have really accurate control over like how hard we hit the strings and like how fast we actually contract it. Depending on how fast you contract, you're going to play louder or softer. And that's kind of the defining stuff of classical music, right? You want really fine control over volumes. You want to be able to like crescendo through a scale and stuff. That stuff like matters in classical. We have that hand set up, and now it's a really simple motion of just pulling our fingers into our palm like that. Now, for like rock, if you're playing fingerstyle and stuff, this technique isn't really that important. And you'll see even when I play pentatonic scales, my palm goes down like this. I'm no longer in mid-range, and I actually have like a kink in that little machine that I was just building. But that's not like a bad habit that I have. That just better serves me playing a pentatonic scale. For a few reasons. Like, first off, I don't know, just something about it feels better. Just for doing stuff like that. Also, and like this is controversial here, but it allows you to slap the string. Which is kind of how you accent stuff in rock music, I feel like. it would be kind of weird and lame if I played that same pentatonic scale. It just feels awkward to do that. Technically, what I'm playing is less, like it's just a pentatonic line, and I'm trying to make that like my part in an ensemble or a band or something. I can give myself more control over that line by sort of compromising everything in a way that only focuses on that line. You couldn't get away with that if you were playing like the Fugue. Your hand can't be like this. The stretches are too far. Like, nope, can't hit that. I have to correct here. And then if I'm playing like multiple voices, it just makes more sense for my right hand to be more open and not to be compromised like that. So it's all in the style. It all depends on the style of music that you're playing. I'm kind of spitballing right now, but I feel like bad habits is sort of a miscategorization of just very specific habits. You might have a technique that's really good for doing one thing on the guitar, and if you try to do anything else on it, it just won't work at all. And we look at that as like a bad habit, but it's like, no, it's just a specific technique, and now you have to learn other techniques. And that doesn't mean that we erase that first technique, because any method of playing anything on the guitar is valid, right? Whatever it takes to get it to happen. And like, that's within reason. I also believe in longevity. I think that classical technique, if you default to it, like how I do, I think that that'll increase your longevity on the guitar, because when you compromise your wrists, like it's the same thing with typing. Like when I'm typing on a computer, my hands end up looking like this, where it's like bent like that, and then also bent to the side like this, and my wrists hurt. And you hear like your mom will call you and talk about her carpal tunnel, and it's like, Mom, if you knew classical technique and applied that to the keyboard, you wouldn't get carpal tunnel. Like whenever I'm editing, I hold the mouse like this, and my wrists will start hurting, and then I'll go into mid-range and kind of enter this awkward technique of tapping on the mouse like that, and my wrist always feels better, and I can edit for way longer. So, you know, I think like learning classical technique and defaulting to it will help you. I'm not giving you like a tutorial on classical technique, but the main points to think about are the mid-range, metacarpals aligned, and opening up your hands. Like, so that's opening up your left hand, noticing the curl between your pinky and index finger. And what I mean by that is like, I feel like in rock and jazz and stuff, you see a lot of like extra curl on the index to lengthen the pinky as like a result of that. Just bring them more together. And you can even extra curl the pinky and lengthen the index, and that's kind of the opposite. There are situations where you need both, like if you're playing a C major chord like this versus a G major chord like this. Those are extreme examples, right? And I'm kind of making them more extreme just to show. There's uses for both, but it's good, I think, to default to the middle. And I find that a lot of us default here, because that's kind of just how your hand might normally want to fall at first. And for a lot of rock music, you can get away with having a hand like this, because another thing that categorizes rock and jazz, I feel personally, is the fingerings are less specific. Like if I want to hit E-G like that, I could also hit it like this. And if you're transcribing something by ear, they're kind of equivalent. Like you just pick the one that's easier, because if it's just a single line, all you have to worry about is just going to the next note well. So it doesn't really matter. But I feel like with classical, the fingerings get so specific that you have to consider like even what they sound like. For example, in the Fugue that I'm about to play, I'm only going to play the first section of the Fugue, but in this, I've been slurring this. As that subject keeps appearing, I could play a string crossing there, but to keep that slur sound, I'm going to compromise and use a harder fingering. Same thing here. I could go like keep the bar, or there's sacrifices to be made to keep that consistent sound. I feel like that's something that's kind of unique to classical, and that's why your technique needs to be as optimized as possible. You need to be able to go anywhere at any time. It's just the music that we're playing, it oftentimes has so many voices doing so many things. So yeah, those are some of the main differences, I'd say. Okay, I think I've answered that question enough. Sorry if that was all convoluted and you didn't learn anything. I don't know if I learned anything either. So I'm gonna get into practicing now, and I'm just gonna play you what I've been working on. I'm just gonna play like 30 seconds of the Fugue, and I'm gonna try to show that I'm really thinking about every single line in it. I'll see you on the other side. Well, hopefully I got across what I wanted to get across there. I actually played the first two sections because I feel like those are kind of flushed out. There's still a lot of like roughness in there, and I need to slow practice and really make sure everything's coming out perfectly clean. But yeah, I'm just gonna maybe break the fugue up into 4 or 5 parts and just kind of work on them separately to see if I can really say something with each one. I feel like I'm saying more with that section. So the next step is just to work on the next part, like I don't know up until wherever feels right. And yeah, that's the work on the fugue. For new music, I'm gonna go into that new Soar etude that I haven't looked at yet. I'll look at that today. And then the Soar Mozart variations, I've been putting good work into that. Alright, well, you know, that pretty much wraps up this one. So, you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, all that stuff. And hey, want some guitar lessons? Send me an email. That'll put you on the waiting list. If you want to teach guitar lessons, I have a link for outschool.com, and I'm also hosting a seminar on Patreon. So if you want to learn what I think is a proper first classical guitar lesson, be sure to sign up for that. Merch at Rootin's Delight. Head on down over there, pick up some honest merch. I'll see you in the next one.